Outreach to underrepresented communities is extremely important to me. It's part of my background, and it should be important to anyone who's called to represent Ward 2. We have quite a few underrepresented communities here in Ward 2 that we need to invite to the table. The frustrating thing, I've worked in nonprofit work, I've worked in political work, is just because you make the invite doesn't mean that someone honors it. It doesn't mean that when you call someone to the table that they necessarily come. So it's something you need to do repeatedly in a way that you don't become frustrated in offering the invitation, because eventually people will come to the table. Eventually representatives will identify themselves and help you reach the rest of the community. Now, one of the underrepresented communities in Ward 2 are the students, but there's several others as well. We take a look at city elections. 4 years ago, we had approximately 800 votes cast in Ward 2. I believe John got about 550 some votes to win his seat, which means that less than 10% of the population of Ward 2 actually showed up to vote. And we all have to remember that we represent not only those who do vote, but we represent everyone who doesn't vote. We represent citizens and non-citizens alike. We represent the young and the old. We represent students and seniors. And I really want to create intentional dialogue within the ward. Now, one issue that's coming up next year, I think is just absolutely vital for the university to get behind and for the student senate to get behind, is the census activity that's going to be happening here on campus. The city of Moorhead, again, just like we did this last spring, will be coming to you asking for your help to volunteer in counting students. Apparently what I've heard is that in the year 2000, the census workers were not as diligent as they should have been in counting the folks in the dorms. And because of that, we had some realignment of our legislative districts. We are going to need to make sure that every student is counted here, because it makes a huge economic impact on the city of Moorhead and in Clay County. The other thing that it does is we're looking at, and some of you who are interested in politics know, that we currently have 8 representatives in Minnesota. If we don't count every person in Minnesota, we may lose a representative to Utah or Arizona or Florida or Texas. If we want to keep our strong congressional representation, we need to make sure that everyone in Moorhead is counted. Now, what the demographers are saying is that we may be looking at a difference of just a few thousand people between whether or not we keep 8 representatives or move down to 7. So outreach to unrepresented communities to me is of vital importance, and it's something that I want to make sure that I bring forward on a regular basis.